Wise Studies presents The Wisdom of the Desert with Nicholas Buxton. You can find more contemplative wisdom from our growing library of audio courses at wisestudies.com. At Wise Studies, you can sign up to our newsletter to receive information about exclusive updates, special offers, and new releases. You can also stay connected with us through all major social media platforms. Wise Studies presents The Wisdom of the Desert with the Reverend Dr. Nicholas Buxton. At Wise Studies, we are committed to illuminating the texts and teachings of the world's great contemplative traditions. This course explores the spirituality of the early Christian Desert Fathers. Over 4 lectures, Nicholas introduces us to their lives and sayings, with a particular focus on the fascinating writings of Evagrius of Pontus. Nicholas makes the wisdom of the desert relevant to contemporary spiritual practice. In this first session, Monks of the Desert, Nicholas discusses the historical origins of Christian monasticism, the story of the temptation of Jesus in the wilderness, Saint Anthony, the first monk, life in the desert, and Pachomius and the beginnings of institutional monasticism.
In this course, we are going to explore the spirituality of the so-called Desert Fathers, seeing also, I hope, how the ancient wisdom of the desert might be relevant to contemporary spiritual practice. We will start by looking at the emergence of Christian monasticism during the early 4th century, when thousands of men and women renounced the world and withdrew to the wilderness regions of Egypt, Syria and Palestine to seek God in a life of solitude and prayer. What inspired them to do this? What were they trying to achieve? In seeking answers to these questions, we will examine the lives and sayings of the Desert Fathers, with particular focus on the fascinating writings of Evagrius of Pontus, who lived from about the year 345 to 399, and who was described in contemporary accounts as being one skilled in the discernment of spirits. In his theological writings, Evagrius gives a detailed account of the spiritual life and the path leading to the practice of what he calls pure prayer. But first, we need to begin at the beginning with the historical origins of the Christian monastic movement. Tradition has it that Christian monasticism emerged in the deserts of Egypt during the 4th century of the Common Era. According to this story, St. Anthony was the first monk, and his younger contemporary Pachomius was the founder of the first monastic communities. However, the truth is, as ever, much more complex, and the notion that the origins of Christian monasticism can be traced to the activities of 1 or 2 key individuals in a particular time and place is rather overly simplistic and probably quite mistaken. The truth is, nobody really knows quite how or why, or even where and when monasticism first emerged, as there is evidence of similar movements arising independently in Palestine, Syria, and the Sinai Peninsula during the same period. Within the monastic tradition itself, it has always been maintained that what in due course evolved into the institution of monasticism as we know it actually began at the same time as Christianity itself, and indeed is arguably its purest expression. But of course, monasticism is not the exclusive preserve of the Christian tradition. It is clear that there were precedents within Judaism, such as the sect known as the Essenes, who withdrew from normal society to live in strict obedience to the Jewish law, engaging in rigorous asceticism under a common way of life. Their community at Qumran, of course,
Sample complete. Ready to continue?